Hello, good afternoon, everyone. That was a very interesting panel. And today, in this panel, we will be discussing the future of AI in the workplace. Uh, the speedy rise of generative artificial intelligence, or AI, in the workplace presents many potential benefits for the future of work. Companies can now use workplace AI to improve various processes, from communication and security initiatives to better space planning and a more inclusive company culture. Of course, this assumes that they fully understand these new technologies in the workplace and implement and use them correctly. But with all the excitement, what's the future of generative AI, and how can we create an effective impact across an entire enterprise? To deep dive into the conversation of how the future of AI in the workplace, we have a very interesting panelist. We have here Trish Rosal, who has 28 years of experience in global IT, 18 years of which were spent in Accenture, 10 years at World Vision, a non-profit with a mission to help the most vulnerable communities. And of course, Mr. Milton Lopez. Milton has 15 years of exposure to tech startups, 10 of which were spent in AI, which focuses on design and user experience. His experience also includes designing aerospace and industrial data-driven. Of course, on my left is Beryl, the co-founder, one of the co-founders of YGG. So, to start our conversation, can you give us a backstory of the partnership between Navigate and YGG and this future of work program, and how will this partnership empower users to take back ownership of their data, and how will this merger open more opportunities in the metaverse?
Okay. So we recently launched the Future of Work earlier this year, and one of the early partners that we had in this space was Navigate. We worked with them to make data labeling available to our YGG community members. And what's really interesting is they have a game. It looks like a pixel Pokemon kind of game. And while playing the game, you're actually doing data labeling. And that opens up to the community a way to earn points. We've given YGG tokens to complete these data labeling tasks. And so we just want to keep opening up these tasks to our community members.
Yeah, absolutely. I echo that. So the whole point of Navigate is for the people to take back their data, and the business model has been proven again and again. You see all these tech giants. The way they become tech giants is by monetizing the data. And so our approach is we can do the same thing, only when we become the giants, it's really the people that are contributing the data that actually earn from it. And so as more data is contributed in the way of annotations in this game, or passively through a Chrome extension, the user gets to earn rewards. They then convert these rewards to potential tokens in the future or in-game purchases. But ultimately, they are providing the data that's going to be sold back to those companies that today monetize all of our data. And so the partnership with YGG was a perfect fit because we have the system in place that allows us to capture that data. And now we have the human in the loop now that's able to augment that data so that we can really harness the value out of it. And in that position, we all win.
Would you like to add to that, Ms.
Yeah,
Beryl?
absolutely. Yes. I think the most important part here is really gamifying the experience of data labeling, right? A lot of us actually, really learning like how to sort data, how to reinforce learning, learning how to use like Excel might be very difficult for a really big population, but to be able to really onboard a number of users, right, to be able to take part in the future of AI, we need to like simplify those tasks, and through repurposing our tech stack, which is our questing platform, we've actually used it as a way to really gamify these like task-based quests, and these task-based quests involves data labeling. This is how we actually started working with Navigate.
So we've been hearing about data labeling, data annotation, and we all know that data labeling is the backbone of AI models. Without it, AI will not function effectively. So can you walk us through what is data labeling and why is it important?
Absolutely. So if you think about data, it is knowledge that exists. However, if you take data as it is raw, there's not as much value as you can harness from it because it is all of the answers, but there's no context. And so when you come with data labeling, you're contextualizing that data for the specific use. And so think of cats, pictures of cats. You can have all the pictures of cats in the world, but if you don't label it as a cat to begin with, there's no concept. It's just this is a picture of a creature, and this other picture is a creature that looks like it. So the labeling of this data, the annotation of this data, is what brings the context in to where you can now develop these large language models that are very good at responding to pretty much anything you can answer them. But the fact that the human needs to come in and contextualize the data is what really sets apart raw data, which is interesting, from enhanced annotated data, which is much more valuable.
Milton actually answered it really like perfectly, right? Like to be able to really like advance into like all the generative stuff within AI, we really need to start in the basics, which is really like labeling, right, and reinforcing. If your algorithm starts hallucinating, like if there's a picture of a dog and then you name it the cat, right? You need to step in and really like reinforce that, hey, this is actually not the cat. Right. So we need to. That is part of like the.
And
data
by
labeling.
adding context to these images, by labeling and annotating these images, it actually offers economic opportunities. In fact, there are data labeling factories in the Philippines, India, and Pakistan, and in fact, India, China is trying to be the hub of data labeling.
Yeah, I'll add one other thing to that. That the fact that we're in this space, in the Web3 space, is specifically because of the community. And it's because the systems that we build, the data that we create, it is from the community. It's built by the community. And it's very important for everybody to feel that way, because the labeling part is useless if you're just trying to game the system. And you look at traditional methods of labeling this data, it's not fun. I mean, you got to grind and you've got to label it, but it's work that has to be done. If there's no attachment to the overall organization, you're just going to put garbage in, and when you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out, and there goes your whole value proposition. So I think the thing about Navigate, and specifically working with YGG, is to ensure that everybody feels like this is a part of their community, and they themselves are building this together, so that they take a little more care in the work that they're trying to get to it, and they're not just trying to extract the value. Because ultimately, the better the data, the better we can monetize it, and the better we can reward the community again and again after we're able to monetize that.
Can I add? Yeah, and let me take you back one step to even data collection. So where the community comes in is we want democratized data collection. So for example, if you have an AI model about trees, if no one's collecting information about Chinese or Indonesian or Philippine trees, then there's no AI intelligence around that. So we have to also make sure that we're contributing in a democratized manner to training the AI.
And this question is for Beryl and Miss Trish and Mr. Milton can also chime in. We've been hearing about reskilling because of the adoption of AI. People has to reskill, upskill, and even repurpose their skill set so that they can adopt to the new demands of the AI induced industries. And with this FOW, or Future of Work platform, how will this provide or offer economic opportunities for the communities and your partners and other communities that are already testing or trialing the platform?
So Future for Work is actually a new initiative within YGG, and we've been, we've been harnessing our community, upskilling them through, the gaming side. But then we want to offer them income generating opportunities and through emerging technologies. And this would be in the likes of like AI, decentralized physical infrastructure, robotics. But then within AI, it actually, it's just like perfect for emerging markets like the Philippines, where I'd say like 10% of our GDP is actually through business process outsourcing, right? And like at the moment, like the BPO industry is in fears that a lot of the call centers, like that's bringing in over like almost $40 billion within our GDP in the Philippines alone, right? Will lose their jobs over like these call centers because of AI, right? So I've been thinking a lot, like we've been thinking this through, and instead of really fearing it, we should really be embracing it. And this is where we actually need them to start doing data labeling, reinforcing that learning. And this is when humans are actually always needed to do this. And I believe that this is an angle for other income opportunities for these task-based activities.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is my understanding that most of these call centers or BPOs, sure, some of them are mostly focused on voice services or customer services. That they through FOW they can skill themselves and be data labelers. Is that one of the directions?
Yeah, so data labeling is actually kind of like the process to kind of like get there. So maybe I'll just give another example, like data AI agents. So just imagine people in the community, whether you're a moderator or you're actually part of a, part of the call center. You'd actually be able to really launch like your AI agent, and then you actually use these task-based quests to be able to train that AI agent to be exactly like you. And then instead, for example, I'm being paid 30,000 pesos per month, right? Just being in the call center. I can launch my AI agent like 3 times, right? 3,690. So making 90,000 pesos instead of 30,000 pesos, maybe even less, right? Maybe it might be 20,000 pesos for each, but 2 for 60,000 pesos is still more than 30,000 pesos, right? So
Diversify
this
yourself.
is an opportunity for our community members when they look at it that way.
How do you train yourself?
So this is where the task-based quest actually comes in, because they actually show you how exactly you should be training it up until like launching your AI agent in the market. So it would be like a step-by-step kind of process to teach you on how to train it, right? Reinforce learning, and then up until launching it
Ms. Trish, do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, so one, we also have our education arm, Metaversity. So Metaversity actually does modules, and we have people who have already graduated from these modules and have started earning livings in the Web3 ecosystem, starting on the game side, like as community moderators or content creators, and now we're expanding on the AI side. So how does 40,000 YGG tokens sound? It's big. It's a huge number, and that's the amount that people have earned through our AI tasks, future of work tasks, just in the past few months. So we're here to upskill, and with the on-chain guilds and the reputation system that we have on our platform, so you can say like, okay, I've learned English labeling skill level 1 or skill level 3, or I'm medical doctor and I can identify cancer on an image, that's level 5. And so if I'm this proficient, I can earn a higher rate actually on these data labeling skills. And it's because you're comparing, you were asking about the AI labeling farms here in the Philippines and China. So typically when you're in these companies, you work 40 hours a week and maybe you're on shift, right? It's really a machine. When you're part of the Web3 decentralized world, maybe it's more like a gig. I want to work 5 hours this week, 60 next week, 20 the next week. It's really up to you what you want to do. It's up to you how much you want to learn to level up so that you're earning more per hour because you're able to learn more complex tasks.
Yeah, I'll add to that. What's really exciting to me is the synergy here, because we talk about education, we talk about upskilling. All of that is valuable for the data labeling side. All of that means that your data is better than your competitor's data. And what I mean by that is we heard about guilds. We heard about how you put people together that have a shared interest, that have a shared specialization. it's the same with data labeling. If you can upskill in a specific direction, then all of the jobs that come out of the Navigate platform will be directed towards that guild, because not all labeling is created equally. You have to have some understanding of the topic at hand, of the type of data that you're looking at. And so as you develop specialization in a specific area, those are the types of data labeling projects, jobs that are going to be offered to you within the Navigate platform. And so as we build up the skill, we're also building up the quality of the data. And so we see this as mutually beneficial, because on the one hand, you're increasing your knowledge, you're increasing your skill level. On the other hand, the data that we're now able to offer the world is much, much higher quality than you can find elsewhere. And so that same quality of data is monetized, and in turn is used to pay for that upskilling. And it's used to reward you for focusing on a specific area.
You mentioned about
Can I add also that we're actually looking at this very holistically. So tomorrow, for example, we have a roundtable where we have our AI partners, government, education, community leaders coming together to see how do we shape this AI ecosystem moving forward. So rather than fearing it, we're taking it on.
yeah, and to push on that subject more, especially the mentioned by Milton about reskilling in the right direction. That's why you have a partnership with the academe, policymakers. So if you don't reskill in the right direction, you will be displaced. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We're seeing this in any industry today with the rise of Gen AI. This idea that now this system can do the job of pretty much anybody in the world. Is the reality? That's not the reality. You can answer a question, but without having the deep understanding of that industry or that specialization, that answer may be completely false, may be completely inaccurate. You could have hallucination occur, but you have no idea. You just got an answer. That's not new. I mean, if you ask me about medicine, I can give you an answer. It is 100% going to be incorrect, and you should not listen to me, but I can give you an answer. And so the magic, however, is that now you have a system that can generate all these answers for you, and you think that they're good. And so now you don't need anybody else. You don't need this individual that's worked in this industry for 20 years and has built this level of understanding, because the system can now answer the question for you. It's not accurate, but it is the reality of where we live. And so the method of advancing in the world of the future is now partnering with the AI. And there's multiple ways of doing it. If you're an individual contributor, you can learn enough for you to be able to identify the false from the truth in terms of the answers you're getting. Okay, now you're multiplied as an individual contributor. If you're on the side of the gig economy, as an example, and your work relies on content creation, your work relies on outsourced work, you're going to be displaced. There's a lot of individuals that are already seeing that. And so what happens when one source of revenue goes away? Well, you need to find an additional one, an alternative one. And that is what we're looking to create with Navigate, which is a source for you to now take that understanding, that knowledge, and harness it in a different direction that still yields revenue for you, a livelihood for you. And now it's in the fueling of these AI systems by generating that quality data that now is in turn going to train these systems. But you as the individual are now creating that data that is going to make that system better. And so we see that as a way to keep the players still in the game, even if their core job has been displaced.
Yeah. This topic is very much close to my heart because I'm from the media. My industry is one of the most displaced, one of the most disrupted industries because of technology. Every time a new technology comes or develops, industries are always disrupted. But usually, with new technology, only the skilled workers were disrupted. But with AI, even the highly skilled workers are disrupted and are threatened. So, with this data labeling and data annotation that we're discussing right now, how will this now offer alternative income for those who will be displaced or disrupted because of the generative AI? For Milton.
Sure. So the same way that they're being displaced today, we're looking at that as an opportunity for them to be the ones that are fueling those systems. And the success of those systems means the rewarding for them. And so, as I mentioned before, you label the data, you contribute the data, and once Navigate monetizes that data, that money is not, I mean, we are in Web3, so that money is not going to be used to build a massive tech giant as we see today. That money is going to be used to give back to the community, to take back some of those tokens, to reward the contributors. There's a ton of different ways that we're looking at using that revenue that's generated from that same data and putting it back into the community, so that the more you contribute, the more you provide valuable data to the system, the more earnings you're going to get again and again and again, because that data won't just be used once. That data will continue to be used by all these organizations. And the more we can succeed as an organization Navigate, the more we have to give back into the community of contributors.
And Mr. Beryl, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So someone told me this, 40% of jobs today did not exist in the 1900s. So meaning to say that our jobs, for example, in media, your job will just be repurposed into something different, right? Maybe you're just going to be managing your own AI bots, your own AI bots, and spending more time with us, right? So, so you know, like the job role will actually be repurposed. That's what I believe in.
Yeah.
But upskilling is necessary. As well.
That's what, because I believe I'm a firm believer of AI and technology. That's why I used to be the business manager for Daily Tribune. It's a print newspaper. So now I am managing a digital newspaper because I believe that's the direction that the media is going. And we're using AI. In fact, we are saving 70% of our workforce because of AI. And would you like to add to my last question, Ms.
I think, yeah, it's gonna make you super productive. Like, for example, if journalists now, instead of churning out how many articles per week, I don't know how long it takes you to create an article, you could be more curating, editing, saying, I want it about this topic with this style, and you're like making it suit your style and your tone more, and it's generating the words for you to edit. So it actually frees up your time maybe to do more investigation or deep research about the topics that you care about.
And it's also applicable within gaming, right? Like I'd say that it costs around like $3 million to produce like a AAA like game, and then they say that because of generative AI that could actually create content for games, right? Automate the content through AI. That cost would actually be reduced to 10 million, and most of that cost will be because of IP. Yeah, the royalties from IP.
Yeah, I want to point out, you have to have that knowledge, you have to have that human in the mix to be augmented. If you just rely on the AI system, you're going to find that it's going to produce a thing, but over time, it's not going to produce the thing that you used to produce. It's just going to be acceptable. And the more of this that we rely on, the less of this that we kind of, as humans, we contribute to that. And so it's very important for us to ensure that the human is still valued in this equation. It is not just that now the AI is able to replace everybody, and it's able to replace somebody who has a lot of experience, because there's still the human element that cannot be replaced by the AI today.
Yeah, AI will actually complement humans.
And I have an example. So for example, you can create music now just with your PC. But when you hear an expert pianist or an orchestra perform, you still appreciate them. You appreciate the art. You know that they have very high levels of performance. So it may be like that too when it comes to writing or other forms of expression.
So, Ms. Trish, would you like to invite our audience for tomorrow's FOW workshop?
Okay, so as Beryl mentioned, Future of Work is a new vertical in YGG. So we hope that you share some more with your guilds that we are doing this, and that you participate in our activities. We've got Milton here and a few other partners. We've got booths tomorrow and workshops lined up. An AI primer, Frodobots workshop, Navigate workshop. So let's all just head into this AI world together.
Thank you very much. We ran out of time. So it's a very interesting discussion. And thank you, Ms. Beryl, Ms. Trish, and Milton.
Yeah, thank you, Komfie.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.